this one here, differentiate, find the gradient of the tangent. Now, dy by dx, you find the gradient. 8x to the power of 3 minus 3x to the power of 2. At x equals 1, dy by dx is simply 8 lots of 1 cubed minus 3 lots of 1 squared, which is 8 minus 3. Here is your answer. That there would have given you a U tick. Remember here, that is f of x. That's f dash x. What does f dash x refer to? To my gradient. Or in other words, there to there I'm differentiating. There to there, that is a cubic. So therefore when I differentiate, I'm going to get an x squared graph. Okay? The gradient just there. What is the gradient just there? What is the gradient just there? You guys need to be aware of that. The gradient just here is 0. The gradient just here is 0. Otherwise, my graph, that gradient's positive. There was my graph. So the key thing is being able to locate this turning point and this turning point and translating that to x-intercepts for my parabola. So find the equation of the tangent to the function at the point. Remember, equation of a tangent, I'm going to use y minus y1 equals m bracket x minus x1. What does y1, what does x1, what does m stand for? x1, y1. x1, y1, that just refers to a point on my graph, and the m is my gradient. You can, but you need to find c. And to find c, you need to have that formula there. So the equation of the tangent, dy by dx equals 2x. So at x equals 1, dy by dx is 2. Now if you got that far, which isn't very hard, that there would have given you a U tick. I think finding your gradient gave you a U tick. I've got the marking schedule just here. Yeah, that gave you a U tick. Now, a lot of you would have had no idea how to answer that particular question, but a lot of you would have just done that because I told you to do that, and it probably made you pass. Those of you that had no idea and did nothing, that's probably why you failed. Either that or you need a lot of extra practice. So at x equals 1, y equals 1 squared minus 9, which is negative 8. So now we've got y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1. Y minus negative 8 equals 2 bracket x minus 1, which will come out in the wash and give you y equals 2x minus 10. And that there is what you needed for a merit tick. Okay, a lot of you, yeah. Any questions with that one? Next one, if I differentiate this thing here, dy by dx, I get 2x. This has an equation, the tangent is that. So y equals 6x minus 7, make sure you're paying attention. What does this 6 stand for? Y equals 6x minus 7. What does the 6 stand for? That's the gradient. But isn't dy by dx the gradient too? So therefore 2x equals 6. Alright? So therefore x is 3. Any questions with that one so far? So therefore, in this equation here, y equals 6 lots of 3 minus 7, which is 11. So that this tangent passes through the point 3, 11. Okay. So therefore on this graph, 11 equals 3 squared plus k. What does k have to be? 9 plus what is 11? Okay, and that there gave me my answer. Okay, so that there was my excellence tick. Up to there was an achieved tick. And then if you'd done something wrong and gone y equals 3 squared plus k, and you tried to do that, that there was a merit tick. Right? So no matter how you went, differentiating it and at the point x equals 1, substituting it in, or any other sort of calculus helped you to get an achieve with that particular question. Alright, so here's the excellence question for question 1. So remember, you've got del det was the mnemonic to help you with remembering the order in which to do things. So draw a picture, done that. Express the formula that needs to be maximized. So we're trying to maximize the area of the field. So area is just x. Well, let's go with base times height. Alright, link the two. So rectangle of 3 positions marked off with 50. Alright, so you got y, x, 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 and x. So really the area is going to be x lots of y, and 4x plus 2y is going to be 50. Therefore 2y is 50 minus 4x, and therefore y is 25 minus 2x. So to link these two, area is x lots of 25 minus 2x. Now we are trying to substitute in, so we're going to 25x minus 2x squared, differentiate, dA by dx equals 25 minus 4x. So now we're going to solve that. Maximum area implies that dA by dx equals 0. So therefore 25 minus 4x equals 0. So 25 is 4x. Divide both sides by 4. You get x is 6.25. Excuse me. Thank you. It's me. So that is my x. Now the maximum area is actually what I'm after. So if x is that, the area, which is x lots of 25 minus 2x, is 6.25. 25 minus 12.5, which is, put in my calculator and I'll get an answer of 78.125 meters squared. So this question here, well, that part there was your achieved, that part there was your merit, that part there was your excellence. Next one, function calculus used coordinates of the local maximum. Okay, this one here, by differentiating it, I'm almost at an achieved. Local maximum is when the gradient equals 0. So if I had done 8 minus 4x equals 0, if I had done that, that would have given me an achieved tick. Okay, and if I'd done that far, then really it's not that much more to get an answer of x equals 2, is it? Happy with that? And so at x equals 2, f of x is 8 lots of 2 minus 2 lots of 2 squared, which gives me an answer of 8. And so if I had done 2 8s maximum, that there was my merit tick. That one there is quite an easy merit tick. I'd love to see more people be able to do that. It's very straightforward when you get the hang of it. Local maximum, what that means is differentiate it and make it equal 0. Okay, after that it's just a little bit of algebra, but that is something that I want everyone to be able to achieve in this class. Okay, parabolic function has the equation that calculate the x coordinate where the gradient is 1. So dy by dx equals 2x minus 3, but dy by dx equals 1. Can everyone read that question like that? So therefore 2x minus 3 equals 1, which gives you an answer of x equals 2. There is your basic achieved question. Can everyone see that type of question as opposed to the previous question 1a, where it was saying calculate the gradient at this point? That one there says find the, or calculate the x coordinate where the gradient is 1. Gradient is 1. You guys need to remember that as well. So for this one here, where is it decreasing? Now, for some of you, it was good because I saw a lot of people going dy by dx equals 2x minus 3. And then what you did is went 2x minus 3 equals 0. So x equals 3 over 2. And that was your answer? No. But that is where the gradient of this line, oh sorry, this curve is 0. If I was to draw this, it would be like that. Does that make sense? Where this turning point, just here, the vertex, is at 1.5. So where is this function decreasing? Anywhere before 1.5. So in other words, when x is less than 1.5. So instead of this being equal to 0, if you had put less than 0 there and less than 0 there, that would have given you an achieved tick. So that there, with the inequality, would be an achieved tick. That there is your merit tick. Okay? You going to see that? And if you think about it, what does this represent? The gradient. And if the gradient is less than 0, what's happening? It's going down because the gradient is negative. Does that make sense? So that's why dy by dx is less than 0. It is decreasing. Happy with that? The next one, ice cube taken out of a freezer. Volume of a cube is that. Taken out of a freezer, multiplied by that. Rate of change, like volume is 4 minus 2t squared. Gentlemen, the question says, what is the rate of change? Okay, not what is the volume at 10. Lots of people went V equals 340 minus 2 lots of 10 squared. That's 100. 340 minus 200, which is 140.
Yeah, that's right.
That's wrong. That is the volume of the cube after 10 minutes. Not calculate the rate of change. Rate of change, what is that? dV by dt. That is differentiate it. Differentiate that and you get negative 4t. I lost count at how many people didn't put the negative there. Okay, because then at t is 10, dV by dt is negative 4 lots of 10, which is negative 40 millimeters cubed per minute. Okay, and like seriously, that there was your merit tick. This part here was your achieved tick. So that question is like a very simple question, as long as you knew you had to differentiate it. Okay, and lots of you put in just 4t, and I think that's more of a stupid mistake than you not knowing what you're doing. But I can't, unfortunately, give you a tick for getting a negative. Now, this is quite a hard question. Find two unknowns. It's like a simultaneous equation, so we're going to need two equations with these two unknowns. Here's information that will be 1, and stationary point implies f dash x equals 0. So this will imply that f dash 1 equals 0. So if we substitute in 1, negative 1, we're going to get into f of x equals p x cubed plus q x squared. We're going to get negative 1 equals p lots of 1 cubed plus q lots of 1 squared. So we're going to get p plus q is equal to negative 1. And if we differentiate, we're going to get 3p x squared plus 2qx. So at x equals negative 1, f dash x equals 0. So we're going to get another equation, 3p1 squared plus 2q1 equals 0. So 3p plus 2q equals 0. So now what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve p plus q equals negative 1, 3p plus 2q equals 0. Simple simultaneous equation. I times this by negative 2. I get negative 2p minus 2q equals 2. Add those together, I get p equals 2. Elimination method. P equals 2. Now, substitute p equals 2 into q plus p, p plus q equals negative 1. 2 plus q equals negative 1, so q equals negative 3. Therefore, PQ is the same as 2, negative 3. Okay, so derivative found. This part here, that part there was your achieved. If you'd got either that one
or that one correct, that was your merit, and getting them both correct was your excellence.
The gradient function, so f dash x is that. The curve passes through that. So I'm asked, what is this? What is f dash x? Sorry, what is f of x? So what I have to do is I have to integrate 3x squared minus 2 with respect to x. X cubed minus 2x plus c. Okay, and that there gives me my achieved tick. If I forgot the c, I didn't get my achieved tick, which is hopefully frustrating for you guys. Okay, it passes through 2, 3, so f2 equals 3. So 3 equals 2 cubed minus 2 lots of 2 plus c. 8 minus 4 plus c, that's 4 plus c, so therefore c must be -1. So therefore f of x, my answer, is going to be x cubed minus 2x minus 1. And actually you had to write that down, and that was your merit tick. But again, I think it's something that I think you can do that. I think we should be targeting those sorts of questions. Okay, you practice those enough, I don't think that question's beyond anyone. This one here, thank you. This one here, shush. This equation is going to be, so f dash x is 2x, which therefore means when I integrate that, I'm going to get f of x is x squared plus c. So it's going to go through any of those points. So you could have drawn any type of graph. As long as it was a parabola, it had your vertex on the x, sorry, on the origin with the y. Sorry, it was symmetrical about this f of x line. Didn't matter placement up and down, it just mattered that it was where the balloon released from ground level, shush, the rate which it gains altitude is given by that. V is the rate of change of altitude, time in hours. Maximum altitude. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to maximize distance formula. Does that make sense? Maximum distance. Can you guys just please? Is when your velocity is 0. Okay, so in other words, we have Vt 2 minus 0.1 t equals 0. So 2 equals 0.1 t, divide by 0.1, and you get time at 10 hours. Sorry, 20 hours. Happy? Yeah, I can hear you, Jaden. Please just stop. Okay. At 20 hours, my distance formula, I had to integrate 2 minus 0.1 t with respect to t. And I think some of you did this question and got yourselves mixed up with x's and stuff. T is my variable that changes. So when I integrate this, I should get 2t minus 0.1 t squared over 2 plus c. I think some of you put that as minus 2x minus 0.505 t squared. I'm not sure why, but I think that's what some of you did. So obviously that there's wrong. At time of 0, the height is 0, which implies c is 0. So therefore my height is going to be 2t minus 0.05 t squared. All I've done is 0.1 divided by 2. And then at time of 20, s of 20 is 2 lots of 20 minus 0.05 times 20 squared. And you should get a maximum height of 20 kilometers. Everyone happy with that? So the key thing, the hardest thing there was to realize maximum altitude. I'm trying to maximize distance, which I would then make my velocity 0, because that's what I would differentiate and make 0. Acceleration is 6 minus 2t, so velocity is with respect to t, which is 6t minus t squared plus c. Initially travelling at that, at t of 0, v equals 6, therefore c equals 6. So my velocity therefore is that equation just there. I think a lot of you guys probably overread that part. At t is 4, velocity, 6 lots of 4 minus 4 squared plus 6. 24 minus 16 plus 6 gives you an answer of 14 meters per second. And when the particle returns to point P, what you're trying to do there is you have to find your distance formula, which is given to you by integrating the velocity with respect to time. Once you've done that, you solve for c to be 0. And then you're trying to solve for when st equals 0. And you should have an answer of something like 3t squared minus t cubed over 3 plus 6t equals 0. And if you factorize that, taking the t over 3 out the front, you'll get 9t minus t squared plus 18 equals 0. You factorize that using the quadratic formula and you should get an answer. You get two answers, 10.7 and negative 1.68. Sorry, you get three answers and 0. Obviously the 0 is where it started at that point. 10.7 is when it returns, and you can't have a negative 1.68 time. So that one there is irrelevant. But that there is your excellence question. I stopped doing it for here. That is a merit expression, constant given. That there was your achieved. So being able to integrate that and read this part here to give you that plus 6, that was your achieved question.